Hello fellow hunters. The update 2.0 has brought a lot of game changers. Not only at the level of equipment but also the monsters. Both the Elder Dragons and Apex have the characteristic of sucky hit zones. Most of the only feature a hit zone of 50 and the rest less than 40. This means that weakness exploit only will work in the head. And these dragons will not allow themselves be hit by slow attacks like the full burst combo easily. For these kind of challenges, enters Almudron Gunlance. Almudron is a wide 5 gunlance with high water damage, blue sharpness, a level 2 slot and elemental exploit. This makes it superior to Cornpopper in everything but against aquatic species where Corn is still as beast with 10% stronger shelling and 20% stronger melee. I'm working in an optimized build for Almudron under these circumstances. But I have one question to respond myself. Quick reload or guard reload? Wide gunlance nullifies the main drawback of guard reload of loading less shells. Guard reload always reloads 3 shells don't matters what. And this is the capacity of wide. Guard reload also enables to spam wormstake by virtue of reloading the stake. And finally, it is a guard being a 2x1 where you reload and defend yourself at once. So, what is the advantage of quick reload? Quick reload has a special feature. You can cancel quick reload with a shell. After a reload you can do shell, poke, quick reload. And if you perfect time it, is quick, very quick. My objective this video is to pit each combo possible against each other and decide if going for one route or the other. For that, I'm using this skeleton build that only has water attack 5 and the typical gunlance skills. As said, the final objective is a build for hard hit zones and no critical skills will be added. Let's begin. For the video I'm using the method of metering how much time takes to reach 1000 points of damage. First take is the guard reload poke shell combo. This should be the slowest. I start the timer when ground splitter begins. And here the result is 13.27 seconds. This will be the baseline. Now, using the quick reload sequence takes a whole second less. This makes around a 8% faster. But remember I was counting from the ground splitter. If I count from the first poke, the difference is bigger at 12%. Poke shell with quick reload is much stronger. As long you don't have to guard or evade. Funny enough, the quick reload into poke first got the same time than doing shell first. This is cause you are reloading less. But note that since the shell first has more fixed damage, will be not as much affected by bad hit zones. Doing shell poke shell is a bit better because this. Now, let complicate a bit the picture by comparing with the worm stake. Here the stake is hitting at a 60% hit zone. Takes roughly 10 seconds to get the 1000 damage going. This is a tiny bit worse than poke shelling. But there are factors to consider. This stake stuns monsters. And the explosion after connecting will spike in another 200 extra damage. But reached this point there is a virtual tie. This means that spamming wormstake brainlessly is no longer the best. Poking is more practical because is faster and allows you to defend yourself. You will want to use wormstake after an guard edge or a ground splitter. But charged shell into wormstake is no longer your best way to do damage. This is great because you know what it means? Blast Dash. Blast Dash is an incredible tool for gunlance. I have said it many times before. Allows you to instant move to the monster. And transverse large distances. You can go straight into a poke shell combo from this land. Even if you decide to go for guard reload, this is the no-brainer option here. Funny enough, I already predicted this style of only poke shells with blast dash and quick reload. I call it poke lance in opposition to the poke shell style that also uses wormstake, which I named stun lance. Stun lance is still viable with Cornpopper, especially against aquatic monsters. But poke shelling is just way more convenient in both terms of damage and accessibility. But wait, let me pull a scenario where guard reload wins. Basically is poke shelling but charging the last shell. This actually is a tiny bit better than poke shelling with quick reload, 8.23 seconds versus 8.60. And it wins with the pokes hitting the leg that is a bad hit zone. So, this is best, isn't? Really no in the sense than takes 5 whole seconds from the first poke to having the wormstake connecting. Good luck having the monster head at reach all that time. This is still good to know for when you play stun lance. Doing all your poke shells before the charged shell into Wormstake has a higher damage per second. You should only go for the direct Wormstake if you have a short window to do it. Now, since all of this is nice in paper theory, let's put it into practice. My performance here is awful compared when I use the traditional setup. I'm running the very same slotless set just to get the feeling. Basically what I find is that using quick reload instead of guard reload feels wrong. Worse. There are two main reasons why. The first one is that becomes unpractical when you do a lot of guard edge into Wormstake. With guard reload you can cancel the recovery of Wormstake and get back the stake. With quick reload, you have to initiate a very unsafe full reload after every use of your stake. There is also the thing that Teostra will never let you do more than 2 combos at most. These two things nullifies the theoretical higher DPS of quick reload. You can negate the theoretical difference using offensive guard. Using vague chest you can get. About blast dash it works fine. I actually grateful not picking charged shells. I have that problem then when I have charged shells I force myself into throwing very risky and unsafe stakes. And you gain the movement speed although is not a lot necessary versus Teostra because is a very in-your-face monster. And still is a top-notch movement tool. And this is why you can't advise about Gunlance just using numbers. Everything must be tested before. My final setup for Almudron Gunlance is Blast Dash, Ground Splitter and Guard Reload. With this setup they synergy perfectly allowing you to use Ground Splitter to sneak some fast Wormstakes. With this information I'm going to start elaborating a mixed set with all this into consideration. I can see 3 different kinds of builds working. The first and the one I want to try is the elemental build. This have a lot of potential against monsters with bad zones. By example, Teostra front legs have 25% against fire and still is a lot less than a 40% raw hit zone. This is going to be great with Mind's Eye. The second one is your traditional raw build. Should try to run the bull 100% affinity or anything possible. The third option is a health Regan build using Kushala armor set bonus. That is a big challenge because the Kushala armor set sucks greatly. Like my video productions. But that build is going to be awesome after eating some gourmet fishes. Both super recovery and the gourmet fish effects stack allowing for even faster regeneration. And nothing else. Thanks for watching and subscribe if you want more of this. See you in the hunt.